How do you pay for dental school, especially when it costs hundreds of thousands of dollars a year? There's a few things that you really need to know. The first is what kind of loans are even out there. There's really three kinds of loans for dental school. One is a direct Stafford loan. Another kind is a direct plus loan. And then finally, you can take out private student loans. Here's how those loans differ. A Stafford loan is limited to $40,500 per year. Over the 4 years you're in dental school, you'll probably be able to borrow a maximum of about $160,000 of Stafford loans. Now that pays for basically zero dental schools in the entire country. You're going to need to borrow more than that unless you have some sort of family financial assistance. So how do you turn to other sources of funds for extra money that you need? Well, you can look at plus loans and you can look at private loans. The thing about plus loans is they're really expensive. You're talking 4.25% approximately origination fees. What that means is that up front, if you borrow $100,000, you're going to get hit with $4,250 in fees up front. Now, that fee varies a little bit year to year, and so does the interest rate, but the interest rate is often 1% above what the interest rate is for a Stafford loan. So if a Stafford loan is 6%, a plus loan would cost 7%. So most private lenders today will give you terms better than that for a much lower origination fee. That means a lower upfront fee and a lower interest rate. So then why don't all dental students just take out all private loans once they've borrowed the maximum on the Stafford program? There's a very simple reason for this. It's because dental school at a lot of places is becoming so expensive that it no longer makes sense to pay back the loans straightforward. In other words, instead, you would go for a forgiveness strategy where you would pay a percentage of your income, and then you would also put aside a little bit every month into investments to cover future taxes on your forgiven loan balance. Now, for dental students that have not entered this yet and not started paying back their loans, that might sound really confusing or potentially terrifying, but it's not, and it's just the way more and more people are being forced to pay back their debt because of escalating cost of attendance, where the job market is still okay for dentistry, but it's just not going to allow you to pay back $600,000 in some of these private dental schools. So what that tells you is if you took out a private loan on top of your federal loans, then you're going to be creating two separate payments, and you're basically going to be forcing yourself into paying back the whole thing if you take out significant private loans. So that would be a disaster if you had $600,000 from a private dental school, because you'd say have $300,000 federal and the $300,000 private, let's say. So then the federal loans are a little bit more difficult to go for forgiveness for, and you have to pay $3,000 a month on those private loans. So for that reason, we really recommend people limit their private loan borrowing for dental school to below, for people who have below $300,000 in debt, just to make it easy to pay back that full amount on a typical associate's income. If you have $300,000, it's about a $3,000 per month payment when you're done with school. Most dentists are going to be able to make that okay, and they'll be able to get out of debt one day. And then a private loan, when replacing a plus loan, in that case, could be a little bit useful. But the danger that I see is somebody using a private loan that creates a separate payment and takes $100,000 of loans that could have been forgiven, and you could have paid a fraction of that amount in taxes in 20 years, and the amount of money would be degraded because of inflation. Or you adding that $100,000 to something you're forced to pay earlier on in your career. So that would be pretty devastating if you made a mistake and borrowed a lot of private loans when you didn't have to. So for dental school, it can be very confusing. We do have help if you're very confused. We have a pre-debt plan if you're already in the process of borrowing and you're really confused as to what sources are the right for you. You can go to studentloanplanner.com/pre-debt. That's a service that we offer for people that are trying to figure out the best way to borrow, and it probably pays for itself if you're taking out a large amount of money. The other thing you could do is if you are in that category of people who just need a little bit of extra money above that $160,000 limit for Stafford loans, then you could go to studentloanplanner.com/private, and that's going to show you a list of private lenders for dental school that you could take advantage of and get some lower interest terms than what you're being offered with your school. So dental school is definitely very expensive, and you definitely need to be fully informed about all the different ways to pay for it. The good news is you definitely can pay for it no matter what you have to turn to. That's not the question. The only question is what's the best way to do it?